What is up, everybody? How is it going? How is it going? Austin Prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Tuesday. Let's freaking jump into this one. As you are all tuning in, let me know how your day is going. We're going to get the podcast started off here in just a moment. But let me know how your day is going. Let me know if you're having a good day, if you're having a bad day, whatever it may be. I hope that it's going well. And yeah, say hi. Let me know that you're here. We're going to get this kicked off here in just a second. We're going to be talking about this important concept that I'm sure that we've all heard at one point in our lives or another of, and especially if you grew up kind of in that environment. Fortunately, I didn't really grow up in that environment. I think a lot of that has to do with me being a dude. And so, fortunately, and it's one of those things where, don't eat that, you'll get fat. Right? Don't eat this thing or it's going to make you fat. Don't do this, don't do that. And it's something from a young age that a lot of people, especially when they're younger and when they're a teenager and things like that, they're, being told this, right? This idea of like, this food is going to make you fat or this thing's going to make you gain weight or this and that. And they, almost create this like really terrible, like relationship with food. And because they create this terrible relationship with food or this like poor mindset around, food and nutrition as a whole, a lot of people, and they may not admit it, but a lot of people are afraid of eating certain things, right? A lot of people are afraid of, having this or that because all their life they were told, like, if you eat this thing, you're going to gain weight, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I think that, talking about this and kind of explaining my mindset behind, nutrition as a whole, and, especially when it comes to flexible dieting, how to view food, in a healthier way, not necessarily like it's going to make you healthier, which it will, but like in a better way of like receiving how nutrition is and how it works in your life and how it, in understanding something. The more you understand something, the better you're going to be able to control it, the better you're going to have like, an idea of, what all's going on with it. And so that's going to give you power around it. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm just going to hop on here real quick just to see and make sure that comments, I'm not missing comments and things like that, because I think I probably am. What's up, Candy? How's it going? Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today, because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So cool. We're going to get this thing kicked off here in 3, 2, well, actually not 3, 2, 1 here. 1 sec. All right, 3, 2, 1. Maybe. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Fit Parent Podcast. How is it going? Today, we are going to be talking about the concept of, and I'm sure that everybody here has heard this quote before, don't eat that or you'll get fat, right? It's something that a lot of people from a young age, for the vast majority of people, but especially women, especially like when they're teenagers, younger age, we've been told from like very uneducated echoers of bullshit, basically, that blank will make you fat. If you eat this, it's going to make you fat. You're going to gain weight if you do that. Don't eat that. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes from our own parents, sometimes from our peers, sometimes from our friends. Oftentimes, though, from our parents, or a lot of times I've heard from, my clients have told me like their grandparents, right, would say stuff to them like that. They'd be so worried about, gaining weight because if you eat this, you're going to get fat, or you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I've spoken with, several women who've told me that, growing up, their mom or other, maternal figures would tell them that, they're getting, fat growing up oftentimes during their teen years. And they'd be like, oh, be careful. You don't want to get fat. You're going to gain weight if you eat that. You're not going to find love if you keep gaining weight. Some really like toxic kind of like psychological shit that probably came from a place of love, right? I want to acknowledge that. Probably came from a place of love because maybe that's how their mom was. But those, patterns, those thought patterns that blank will make you fat or that food in general will make you fat is a hard thought pattern to break, right? It's a really hard thought pattern to break that a lot of people struggle with. But I want to tell you guys this because this is really important, that nothing other than the overconsumption of calories will make you fat, right? Nothing other than the overconsumption of calories will make you fat. Nothing other than being a calorie surplus will make you gain weight, right? That's the only thing that will result in weight gain, right? Other like actual fat gain, right? Like we're not talking water weight, we're not talking hormones causing water fluctuations or being constipated or any of that stuff, right? Like that those are normal fluctuations. But in terms of actually gaining fat and gaining like weight from that, overconsumption of calories, the only thing that's going to make that happen, right? Whether that thing is, and I want to preface too, because a lot of times people are like when I hit menopause, like I started gaining all this weight, or whenever I got PCOS, I started gaining all this weight. It's like, yeah, like, and that's fair. Like, I'm not trying to invalidate that happened, but the reason that happened is that there's some underlying mechanisms there that caused your metabolism to either be on the slower end, or you aren't getting as many steps in the day because you feel like crap, like things like that are occurring that are just causing your calorie maintenance calories, or what would be a calorie deficit for you, to be lower than what it was. So that's why you're gaining weight, right? And so or you're just not burning as many calories on a daily basis because you're not moving around as much. So I want to emphasize that those things happen, but you're still, the reason that you're not losing weight or that you're gaining weight is because of calories at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. And so being in a calorie surplus is what ultimately makes you gain weight. You need to start developing a healthier relationship with food and your body. Because honestly, and this is something that some people realize and may take advantage of in a bad way, because then they're not finding the balance. But you can eat pretty much anything you want in moderation and still lose weight, right? Let me say that again. You can eat pretty much anything you want in moderation and still lose weight. You can let yourself live a little bit and still lose weight. You can eat carbs and fat and still lose weight. You can still eat carbs and fat and still lose weight. I'm going to say that over and over and over again. If you listen to this podcast, you're going to hear me talk about that, because there's a lot of fad dieters and crash dieters out there who are vehemently in denial that that it's carbs and it's fat, and that they can't lose weight because it's carbs and fat. And it's not because of carbs and fat. It's because of too many carbs and too many fat sources, and too much. You can get fat eating protein. You can get fat eating avocados. You can get fat eating anything in excess, right? And so the sooner that you kind of recognize that, right, and as long as you have a moderation in mind mindset, you're going to be able to reach your goals, right? Food is not the enemy. Food is going to be the thing that, if you can, figure out how to find that balance, and you can figure out how to strategically, in a sense, eat some of these foods, during your day today, you're going to have a much easier time reaching your weight loss goals, or your fat loss goals, or your body recomp goals, because, in that sense, it's almost like a game of chess, kind of, when it comes to your food. And if you understand how it works, you can put the pieces in place where you want to put them, and make your goals, more attainable and easier. And I want you guys to emphasize, and I want to emphasize this too. You can eat sugar and processed foods in moderation and still lose weight, right? You can eat sugar and processed foods in moderation and still lose weight. Sugar is not the enemy, right? Overconsumption of sugar can be bad. Overconsumption of processed foods can, be, detrimental to your goals, because, sometimes the calories on the labels aren't exactly the most accurate. They have within a percentage that they can be off by. They can, have a lot of things like high salt content and things like that can make you feel bloated. They can cause you to hold on a lot of water weight and things like that. They can lack micronutrients, which isn't great either. But it's one of those things, the studies have shown that if you compare 1-to-1 somebody who is, consuming 300 grams of carbs a day in whole foods versus someone who's consuming 300 calories a day in sugar, and you're accounting for them being in a calorie deficit, both parties are going to lose weight about the same rate, pretty much. Is sugar only person the healthiest and has the best bodily functions in terms of the things that the micronutrients take care of? Probably not. Are they going to lose weight though? Yeah, they're both going to lose weight. That's how calories in, calories out works. That's how CECO works. And so why I tell you this is stop going for perfect and start focusing on progress and sustainability, because you're never going to be perfect, right? And whenever you think about that, that can be really liberating, right? You can only be the real you, which includes the faults, negative behaviors, and thought patterns at times that you have, even regarding food, right? And so we have to work on that instead of hiding it and pretending it doesn't exist. And we especially need to be making sure that we aren't creating the same problem or problems, for our own kids by using that same negative language our parents may have used, or that our grandparents may have used, or that our friends may have used, that put us in this situation to begin with, right? So we need to be the example, and we need to set the example. We need to break that generational bullshit and level up our mindsets, and in turn, we're going to level up our satisfaction from life, right? And so I want to emphasize, guys, food is not, a bad thing. Food can be fuel, right? Food can be an enjoyable thing. I freaking love food, man. I love going out to eat. I probably love food and probably have a bigger appetite than the vast majority of people out there. Right? I probably do. I love food. I enjoy it. It's a cultural thing. It's a fun thing. It's a thing that you can go out and do. But I take moderation in mind whenever I'm doing those things. Right? I enjoy those things. I try to find that balance in my life. But food is not like the enemy. Nothing inherently is going to make you fat. Right? Nothing inherently is a good food or a bad food. At the end of the day, I like to think of food as being either, macronutrient, like macro or micronutrient dense, or macro and micronutrient kind of empty, right? Or devoid, right? That whole an apple, it has sugar in it. It's got fiber though, and micronutrients and things like that, versus the sugar equivalent, or the sugar equivalent of an apple, right? Of just like pure like processed sugar, right? Like neither of these are like bad, right? One's just probably going to help you get to your goals a little bit better and make you feel more satiated and satisfied and healthier and happier in general than this one. But this one's okay too. There's nothing evil about it. It's just it's sugar, right? It's energy. It's a source of energy. And so like getting away from that, like this is going to make me fat or this is going to make me skinny. Like that's not the case. Like I said, you can get skinny or you can lose weight or you can reach your goals eating processed food. As much as I would rather people eat, whole foods and healthier foods and go for which I would emphasize, this 80-20 rule of consuming about 80 or 90% of your calories a day, for your macronutrient sources and things like that from whole, not super processed foods, right? Like vegetables, fruits, lean protein sources, things like that. That's great. That's what we should be doing. Another 10 to 20% you can get from those fun foods like, cookies and ice creams and other processed things that you get from the store. And that's fine. Like having that balance is good. But to say this is going to make me overweight or this is not, it's just not, that's factually incorrect at the end of the day. It just is. So at the end of the day, remember this next time somebody says that or says that to you, or you think back or you're thinking about saying something like that to somebody else, don't do that, right? Just know that that's not what it comes down to at the end of the day. What it comes down to is calories, right? Calories in versus calories out. And just having this this healthier relationship with food and knowing that that whole idea that knowledge is power is going to help you, the more you understand how food works and how macros and calories and micros and all that work, the better off you're going to be, the better time you're going to be going to have, the more satiated during your weight loss journey you're probably going to be. And just stick around and keep listening to these podcasts. And I'm going to be telling you guys more and more about these things because I want you guys to learn about this stuff. I want you guys to not have this fear of food in your life, and I want you guys to have and find this balance in life because there's a lot of, great opportunities out there in life and memories to be made that involve food. And I don't think anybody should be afraid to, indulge in those things with moderation in mind at the end of the day. And, again, the more informed, the public is on this sort of stuff when it comes to nutrition and how to have a safe, sustainable, long-term, long-lasting, fitness journey for themselves or weight loss journey for themselves, I think the better off the world's going to be. So on that note, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you got value from this episode. And other than that, I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Facebook? How's it going? TikTok? Hope you guys got value from this. If you did, feel free to give this video a like. Helps other people, see it, especially with the algorithm. But I see here, huge foodie. It took me a while to understand and not have diet culture in the back of my mind. Yeah, diet culture and fitness culture is toxic as shit, and it's terrible, and it's getting a lot better. Thank goodness for the freaking internet for the most part, the informed internet, because the 2000s and everything like that were fucking crazy. The late 90s, early 2000s, up until up until honestly the last 5 years, there's just so much bullshit out there. It's hard to dissect through it all. But now the general public is becoming more and more informed on how food works, and that a lot of those crash diets, fad diets, fitness and nutrition culture from the 90s and 2000s is just horse shit. So yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I see a comment here from Joyce. My mom put me on a diet at 8 years old. Yeah, and that's just tough, right? That's tough. That is really hard on a kid at that age, and your psyche at that age is so impressionable that it's one of those things that can carry on with you for the rest of your life, right? And it may have, and you're saying here I wasn't even overweight, and yeah, it's one of those things too. And it's back, especially back in that day, it's one of those things the culture of it all, and it's I've heard some pretty terrible horror stories and just really gut wrenching stories from, you know, other clients and just like friends and family that have reached out and things like that. There's been like, yeah, like, you know, similar stories to that where it's just like my, you know, family made me feel so like ugly or like unwanted or unloved and things like that because they were just constantly just like, you know, shoving diet culture at my face because it's like, you know, the terrible thing is that, you know, it probably was coming from a place of wanting to help and wanting to love. It was just like the wrong way to go about it. But people try to do the best that they can with what they know in those moments, and yeah, you just gotta try and you know, forgive in a sense, or try to have some of that in some way or another, and just, you know, the beauty of it is that we now have the opportunity to learn about these things and to grow in these areas of life and to work on our mindset around these things. And so, yeah. But other than that, though, I'm going to hop off here. I have a call that I got to hop on. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, though. I hope you guys got value from this. Let me know your number one takeaway. But remember, at the end of the day, like, food is not the enemy. Food is not a bad thing. Food is like, you know, this amazing thing on so many levels that can, like, you know, fuel your workouts, your life, that can be used to help make your goals easier, not harder, especially when we come at it from moderation and mindset. So that's how we do this shit sustainably. But other than that, I'm going to talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Appreciate you guys. Bye.